Welcome, Onyx. Glad to have guests in the house today. Got Mr. André Heyward. How you doing, brother?
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, André is accomplished author, which we're definitely going to get into. Also, André is a very professional, experienced manager. He's going to talk a little bit about his past career and everything. So, André, I'm going to kind of let you take it away a little bit, and we'll guide you through here, man.
Okay.
Let's tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Gotcha. So, I'm originally from a little town called Varnville, South Carolina. Probably nobody has any clue where it's at.
No, we don't. Where's it near?
If you make a left at the two squirrels and go and make the right by the pine tree, like you'll find us. But grew up down there in the South, in the Low Country. My family, my father's side of the family in particular, has a bit of a Gullah influence.
Okay.
So it's it was fun coming up back then. Actually, still went outside. Everything. Went to USC Aiken for my undergrad. That was 2012, and then I recently got my master's a couple years ago from Southern New Hampshire University back in the fall of 2022. I've been, as far as work wise, a little bit of jack of all trades because there was a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, so
Sure.
I've done everything from digging wells, throwing watermelons to farming a little bit, HVAC work.
Okay.
Painting. I'm a master painter. You know what I'm saying?
Paint for hire?
Hey.
Paint for hire? No.
Hey. I'll come out of retirement, man. but yeah, been, as far as professionally work wise, been a little bit all over in terms of corporate. Started at Teleperformance here, went to Wild and ADP, then went to Atlanta to UKG, and looking for my next spot right now at the current moment. So
nice, awesome. Well, we know it ain't really long before with that type of talent you're gonna be on. So definitely. What type of books? Getting to your publishing and everything.
Yeah.
What type of books do you author and everything?
So they're kind of night and day.
Okay.
So the most recent one, I'll hold this up for the good folks at home. This is the King's Verse. It's a book of poetry and prose that I've written over the last 10, 15 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, most places, most online retailers where books are sold. And it's centered around 4 themes, basically. Life, love, politics, and and it's kind of like a window into the soul, I guess you would say.
I like that.
This one is my first one.
Okay.
It's I guess you say, the first baby. It was born out of my time at Teleperformance. Before I left there, I came across a lot of young men and women who they wanted more from their lives. They knew that they kind of wanted to go in that particular direction, but they just hadn't had anybody that showed them the way or could show them the way. Right. You got to think about it like a lot of us are first, if we're lucky, second generation. So where it's like, mom, dad probably was something blue collar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, what I started to do, instead of just, flunking them for an interview, it would be like, hey, I would take 5 minutes, like, hey, look, you came here, you kind of, you're not up to snuff, brother. I'm not gonna BS you. And I would try to get a feel for their mind. I'd say, hey, look, I'm technically not gonna interview you today, but if you do these 3 things, you come here tomorrow and you look like somebody,
sir,
I'm gonna give you a couple things to look at, because if I interview you and pass you on to my colleagues is not gonna talk about me. You understand? I got your address. I know where you stay. I did your background check. I know where you stay. And then third, like, hey,
vigilante type
hey,
in this joint.
Like
yeah, I'm black man. And then third, like, if you get that opportunity, like, hey, you know, just give it your all.
Yep.
And I would say 90% of the people that I did that for, they were so very receptive to it, so much so that at the time, TP's head count was maybe like 1,200 in that building. And there would be times where I'm walking through and people would literally like grab me, stop me and say, hey, Mr. Heyward, thank you so much for taking that chance.
Absolutely.
And they would always, at the end of all of our conversations, hey, you know, you should put some of this stuff you told me about in a book. You should put it in a book. And I'm like, that's for other folks. And then shout out to Neil and Neil Blair and his brother Fahim. They started a group called Black Men Talk. So we had some similar type of youths come into that group, and it was the same thing. And it was kind of one of those things. It was like, well, give it a shot.
Now, where was this group pretty much started at?
It was off Gordon Highway in a fellow named Chris Bostic's barbershop. Friday evenings for a couple of years, we would have discussions at the end of the day, and it would be kind of a little bit of what's going on and generally like what is it that we're feeling as black men in the community and in the country at large is facing us. So as we kind of got started, you know, a lot of the folks who were coming there for the late cuts and whatnot,
right,
we're kind of seeing sometimes they would bring I'm gonna bring my nephew, I'm gonna bring my son, I'm gonna bring whoever, and they would just sit them down there.
Right.
And they may not say anything in a discussion because they don't, you know, I feel like it's still the South, like, you know, that hey, don't you get in the grown folks conversation? That's still
right.
Even when they're invited to it, it's like, you ain't about to get me caught up. But afterwards, a lot of them would come up to, you know, myself and a lot of the other men in there and, you know, just ask questions. And it was really one of those things where I wanted to be able to kind of share in a mass way some of the information that I was having in some of those conversations. Because as long as I see that they want to do better.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the shirt off my back.
Now, it's interesting, you kind of segue into interviews and everything, because I read something earlier today where kids, well, I shouldn't call them kids, young adults are going to interviews very unprepared. They're doing things like they're coming to the interview, they're not making eye contact. They're not being very conversational with their answers. Some of them even bringing their parents, you know, on Zoom, and some of them don't show their face
I
at
think
all.
I read that same article you talking about.
So it's like, where is the training ground? I know my answer.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, where should young adults be properly trained for an interview?
It all starts at home.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what I was thinking.
It is one of those things where, like, I feel that with today's social climate, a lot of our young adults aren't challenged.
Right.
And you don't always have to agree. You don't always have to, you know, go into an environment, see it's toxic and say that, you know, like, okay, I got to persevere through it. Nah, like, you see it's bad, get out, you know. But that being said, I feel like, you know, probably for you and I, like, our childhoods, like, our fathers, our family, like, we were challenged, we were tested in a way that I don't feel occurs as much now. And I feel that most parents are sending their children off to school, and it's leaving schools with a daunting task because
the school's not doing it, obviously.
Well,
I guess it depends on school. Yeah.
Well, you have to think about it. Like, if the way I see school in relation to rearing of children, at least, the home is with the first teacher.
Absolutely.
And there's supposed to be a foundation there so that when we send them off to school, they got something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
If I send my kid to a basketball camp that's supposed to be for advanced players, but he don't know how to dribble, he gonna have some trouble. You know,
exactly.
It's gonna be a rough time in here. And on top of that, now in order for me to even do anything with him, I got to take that time and work with him to get him the way like he can kind of do whatever. And whole year done went by. And it's time for them to go to the next grade.
Right.
So
okay. So I always find it interesting because I've had past experience with management too.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some brothers and sisters that come in with a t-shirt on, with jeans on, chewing gum, cell phone, just all unlocked, cell phone in their face. And I did the same thing you did. I try to give them some prep work. Like, come on, you got to come a little better than this. And it's tough because it's like guys like, what are you thinking? But at the same time, we can't expect what they don't know.
Yeah, I remember honestly, he ended up probably being one of our best employees. Okay. I remember the brother. He was terrible interview. He was nice if he was going to a date. Oh yeah, he was fresh, brother. I ain't put his name out there. He put him on plans. He doing well now.
He had on the club clothes.
Hey, look, man.
Now you got to describe it.
He had them Jabos on, man.
Okay.
He had like the Jordan Olympic sixes. Whoa. I was like, okay. Had the polo button up. Everything. I was like, okay. I like, this ain't quite how you come for an interview, man. Right. I see you try to put forth the effort, you know what I'm saying? You remind me of the little meme, ain't I fresh enough?
Sliding over there with them shades, Gucci shades. Hey. I know I got this, bro. Whatever you got, I got. That's all it is.
Oh, no. And he came in there, the thing was, man, he flipped it, he had to fit it with him. I don't know where he was keeping it fitted. He just reached behind his back.
Whoa. No.
I really...
Now, what job was he applying for?
This was for teleperformance. Yeah, this would be a call center rep. And I just remember, I talked to him about it. I see, you got to look at sense now. You got some sense. Right? We can work with it.
Well, that's the thing. It's so important, I think, us, especially as black men and black women, when we do get in management positions, is not to automatically close the door. You know what I'm saying? And I like the fact that you said that you do give some type of golden advice, like, hey, I'm going to tell you a few things. I'm going to give you a redo. You can come back and do the interview again. Because in most cases, let's just admit, most of our people don't get that opportunity.
Oh, no.
Depending on who they step in front of, even some of us won't give them that opportunity. It's like, nah, bro, you out. One strike, that's it. So for you to give them that opportunity also gives them a lot to think about. And I'm pretty sure you kind of feel the same way. Like when I used to be in management, I bring someone on. I used to always tell them, I tell this to my children too. When you get the job, the job itself, yes, you get through the interview and you get hired. I tell them, like, hey, like the first year, like, you're still interviewing. You know what I'm saying? You're still trying to market yourself and everything. So, like, I try to always give them that first year mentorship, Like, don't, just because you did good in the interview, just because you did good the first week at work, don't let that momentum die.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because us, we get on the job and we tell it, hey, man, you really ain't got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing that?
I want my bad habit to rub off on you.
I mean, so I'm working on the third book.
Okay.
And it's going to be called The Black Hitchhiker's Guide to Corporate.
So, repeat that again, because I ain't catch it.
The Black Hitchhiker's Guide to Corporate.
Okay. And you kind of took that from the Hitchhiker, the Galaxy Hitchhiker. I don't know what that book is, but I heard the title before.
So this kind of to give a little teaser, like I feel like this book right here, I feel like it's a good book, but if you got a little bit of professional experience like yourself, probably not a lot here. It's really more so for somebody who don't have it.
Right.
And I've remember sitting and thinking, I was rereading it one day and I was like, I've encountered so much, and I've kind of, after going through my master's programs, like I kind of have a bit of a different perspective on things. So I wanted to come at it from a more academic angle. And one of the things that always struck me, being, especially more so being in Atlanta, was just, it started with commute times. Because my mother, she commuted an hour and a half to get the SRS to work. I was commuting 6 hours a day to get to UKG.
6 hours a day?
Yeah, to get 3 hours. It's in Atlanta. 3 hours there, 3 hours back. Wow. Basically, I was
right. You was working like 14, 15 hours a day.
Pretty much.
Put the commute in there.
Yeah.
Good God.
You know, it was hybrid. And then,
okay, so you a couple days a week. It
started as 2, and then it went to 3, and it's like, y'all don't understand. Like that 3. That 3, hold on now. Did it let you kind of do them back to back, or you had the option to do them? Yeah, I chose to win, but it was like, you know, I did what I could. Man, did what I could. But basically, I started there, but it grew into a more holistic view of Black folks and their relationship with work.
Right.
Not to get overly political or anything like that, but like one of the things that kind of really inflamed me a little bit was like the whole Black jobs comment a few weeks ago. Absolutely. Because it's like I'm doing all these research. I got like hundreds of source articles and journals and whatnot.
It's a black job.
And I'm like, I can tell you. So you want to pretend you don't know what that is? That's actually something really important. But since you just want to do an Instagram post, you don't know what a black job is. All right, I'll mind my business. So, you know, even from just navigating corporate from the standpoint of actually getting your foot in the door to even a lot of the experiences that we go through to try to get to where we want to, it shapes us. And I didn't realize it until actually with my own experience. Like I bumped up into that glass ceiling and I was like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Y'all got the right one. Yep. I'm like Django. I'm coming for all y'all. I'm coming for all y'all.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Get out the way, Steven.
Steven, you know Steven.
You know out the way. And you know, it was a few years later, and it was like still was bumming, and it was like I decided to leave.
Right.
And when I got to my next place, the environment was night and day. But I realized that even though it was the same type of work, even though it technically was easier,
right?
Just in terms of what I had to do, I felt those effects from it because it was that self-doubt there. There was some of those things to where like there was that trepidation because like you that doubt feeds into fears to where it's like, you know, you act a little bit slower. You feel hesitant to make certain decisions and all of that. So it's a big picture view on all of that. And I hope to have it finished by the end of the year.
Awesome. What is, you really segued a lot into, you know, the career management, which you've done so far, but what is like your, I call it like life's mission when it comes to you being an author and also being in management positions and everything? Gotcha.
So I put it like this, and I don't want to come across a particular way, but my father and the household that we grew up in, that he raised me and my brothers in, it was one where I really had a good idea of what Black people went through in this country, or at least I thought I did. And then I started reading and I found out like, oh God. And I feel that in terms of for Black people to actually have true independence in this country, that means having your own opportunities, having your own wealth, and having your own infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And I feel that one of the ways that can start is there are a lot of people that have skills. There's a lot of people that can honestly cut it in corporate. And some people decide to go that path. Some people don't. There's no shame in whatever the decision is. I chose to go down the corporate path. I that's just what, where I found myself. And my whole thing is I want to create those pipelines so that each and every person who wants to try to come in and make something for themselves, hey, the door is open. I'm not trying to close the door behind anybody, because honestly, for anybody who is black and in corporate, more Django's you got, the better.
Oh yeah. And I think black representation matters too.
Yeah.
Like on the management level, I think what we don't see a lot of us, obviously, but when we do see us, it's sort of like it's scattered. Mm-hmm. And then you got the double-edged sword you got to play with, because I remember being in corporate America, and it's like when you're in management, you have to walk this fine line because, for instance, I was in the food game. Everybody that knows me from back in the day, manager at different places, Golden Corral, Piccadilly, here and there. And it's like, okay, I'm managing most of my people, which most of them happen to be black. Mm-hmm. But then I'm reporting to white folks. Mm-hmm. And it's a fine line when you're reporting and you have that, you're that direct liaison. Yeah. And it's like, you got to take their language that they're giving you from corporate, but you got to regurgitate it and give it to your people on the floor and everything. Yeah. And sometimes you don't always come with good news. And then you sort of get in this battle of, pleasing both parties. For me, that was frustrating as hell. And I have no desire to be in management because of that, But I'm glad I had the opportunity to just be able to help a lot of people, just like you did, give them some really good advice. I had a young lady walk in, interview one day, and we got to talking about, different things about her hourly rate. And she actually had a lot of experience working at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. And she worked at Starbucks in the mall. And when she came over, to interview, I was working at Augusta University at the time. Yeah. And I asked her about what was her pay expectations. Mind you, she did this for like 10 years. She told me her pay expectations were minimum wage. Young black sister. And I was like, why? Why are you looking to get something at minimum wage? She said, well, I believe it's starting from the bottom. I said, you're not starting from the bottom. You come here with 10 years of experience. So of course I ain't pay her minimum wage. I gave her the highest salary I could give her, hourly rate. But these are things that a lot of us don't realize or have that confidence to know. So I really appreciate your effort out there. Yeah. Schooling so many young people in that manner.
Yeah, so that in particular was the very last chapter of this book. And the title was...
I asked for the money.
The title was, F them, beware pleasure your loyalty to corporations.
Like that.
Wow.
I can agree. Man, a lot of that.
Yeah.
And the big challenge for... I would say for myself has been, how to phrase this? A lot of black faces in the corporations I've worked for, mm-hmm. they don't see themselves as black first. So, the difficulty a lot of times is like, and I want to preface this, like if you are an alternative lifestyle or anything like that, there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes people feel that they have this either or, and they don't. It's almost mind-boggling to me. Like they fail to realize that society treats us a particular way. Absolutely. And we have a particular challenge, and that challenge starts with our blackness.
Right.
So if you don't address the root, you can prune all you want,
right?
But these issues are going to still be these issues. And at the end of the day, you're going to be in a crowd where you don't quite fit in, experiencing certain things. And you're going to, I don't quite get why I'm getting something different.
Right.
And it's like, I can tell you why, Stephen.
Oh my God,
Right,
this is such a hot topic. It's even funny. If I can cut it for a hot second. It's with corporate America and people of color, it's like you have people like you who wants to help, each other, climb the corporate ladder. And then, of course, you have those who code switch to climb the corporate ladder and kick the other person down the ladder. In the process, I'm like, okay, we're supposed to help each other. But then, it's like survival of the fittest. I'm like, hey, it should be us helping each other. There's enough for all of us to eat. But it's like, hey, then once you get up there, instead of helping, the person, I'm saying that, you left behind, you're like, I don't know about them. And so you see those two ugly sides when it come down to people of color in corporate America. And it's ridiculous. Like I said, be you, and a lot of us find ourselves, I just recently stopped code switching, honestly.
See, that's funny. I'm glad she brought that up.
Yeah.
Because
I come in the parking lot, I blast my music, and I put space.
I'm glad she brought that up because there are some jobs you have to code switch, like the job I work. So the job I do full time, I work the phones.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell y'all where I work at because I refuse to talk about my job anymore since I got fired from one job, marketing so much that job. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. Yeah. But my job, I work the phone. So I don't see a face. They don't see a face. Yeah. But everybody knows. You can tell if it's a black man or a white man or a white woman or a black woman talking on the phone. You can just tell, right? It's baritones a little bit. Sometimes it can throw you off. But obviously, I must have a black voice. Mm-hmm. So this is my normal voice. This is what I talk like. Some days I have to talk like, thank you for calling blah, blah, blah. This is Donnie Jackson. How are you doing today? And it's the way it is. And the crazy thing is, I've done it different ways. I've used my regular voice and I've used the Urkel voice. And the Urkel voice seems to sometimes more times work. So all I'm saying is it's a real thing. Code switching is real. It is. And sometimes you have to code switch to survive in corporate America. These are challenging times.
The thing.
And I sell, so it's like I got to code switch. I don't get hourly rate. I'm 100% commission. I'm gonna code switch in a heartbeat.
I understand. There's a movie called it came out a few years ago called Sorry to Bother You. And that's what it's like.
Oh yeah. I didn't see that movie, but I saw the preview of it. Yeah.
Give me the white voice. Hello there, Tyler.
It's an awful truth, but it's 100% real.
As funny as it is, it's something that we still have to do, depending on the job you work. Yeah. But you sometimes still have to do.
The thing of it is like it's unavoidable to some degree.
Right.
But for me, the biggest thing is the mentality. Because like you can put on the white voice, do whatever, but at the end of the day, if you go home, we all in here, we black. We good.
Right.
The biggest problem I've encountered in terms of the collective and advancing the collective and forming those pipelines to get people in positions that even it might mean your mentee goes ahead of you for a little bit, but the converse, the inverse of that is, hey, they're above you now. Guess who's getting pulled up?
That's right.
A lot of people just don't think long term, long game, and it's like this fractional. It's so much fractionalization in it. Right. And the biggest thing to me is that I really wish black folks in corporate would get is first, anybody that they see coming in there that really wants to uplift and really wants to create a good environment for black folks, understand they're target on that dude back already.
Right.
Because you upsetting the apple cart.
Right.
And the thing of it is, it takes just a few good men to completely change that dynamic.
Yep.
I remember at Teleperformance, I got pulled into a call because I had, at the end of a few months, I had hired nearly, I was hiring people all the time, but I had hired nearly 100 black men. And they were, tap dancing all around it in the call. They were like, well, the demographics of the site is changing. They're changing kind of quickly, and we have concerns and whatnot. I was like, okay, what are the concerns? Are the people that I hired, are they unable to do the job? Well, it's not that. I was like, well, I keep up with their stats and whatnot. There's a few people that they stick out, because everybody I gave that chance to, I'm I want to make sure that I ain't passing nothing through.
Right.
So I got access to prove your stats.
Right.
Hey, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't get burned too many times. Because if I'm sticking my neck out there, if anything else, like, I'll come. Hey, you making me look real bad. I got a problem right now. Hey, I got a problem. You got a problem. You need to fix that problem. You understand? It need to be fixed before 5 today, all right?
Right.
I don't want to have to come see you now, bro. All right.
Oh wow.
This guy's a vigilante. I don't care what I say. Did I tell you? Hey, meet me in the break room, bro. Yeah, I got something for you.
We can do this the easy way or the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? But in so much words, I backed him into the corner rhetorically, and I was like, okay, what's the problem?
Right.
We're in a black city. 90% of our workforce is black. It's skewed heavily female. And I was like, okay, you're telling me that 100 qualified black men have been hired into roles. Not only have they been hired in roles, they're staying here and they're performing well. The hell am I talking to you for? What the fuck is the problem?
Right, exactly.
It sounded to me like you
don't want as many black people.
And if that's the case, just come out here and say it.
Right.
And but it takes that type of leadership and presence to be able to even push back, because if you aren't there, and I mean the collective you,
right,
it's easy to pick somebody off and get them out, move them out the door. But when you pick me off, and they're 100 to take my spot,
that's right.
That act, think, and move, and they on that, at least on that particular item, they're in alignment and on one accord. It becomes one of those things like we can't deal with them with those colonial politics.
That's right.
We have to actually engage with them. And when we have to engage with you, now I got a seat at the table, and now you go listen to what I got to say.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. That's assertiveness. That's the right type of assertiveness. So how can our audience reach you, man? You got a lot of gems, obviously.
Yeah.
We would love to bring him back when Onyx starts doing training camps for interviews. That is on the docket. We definitely got to have you back for that.
He was in my head.
Yeah. So how can our audience reach you for your books, for your career advice and everything? How can our audience reach you?
So in order to
we'll put it in the comments too.
Gotcha. In order to find my books, you can just really do a Google search or go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You can Google The King's Verse by André Heyward or Business 101 by André Heyward. They pop right up. Awesome. In terms of anybody that wants to get in touch with me personally, my email is anhyward @gmail.com. And any questions, anything that anybody may have. I've done a couple speaking arrangements or anything and things like that. I'm game for it. As long as scheduling time permits, it's all love.
Well, that wraps it up for another podcast. And we could not have a better person here right now to wrap it up with than André. We're going to take a break next weekend, just a small bye-week, as we call it. But we're going to be back at you after the weekend after next. We got a lot of things on the docket. We are planning a meet and greet pretty soon. We also want to do training camps, interview training camps, like what André can bring to the table. So, hey, y'all just stay tuned. Onyx is rolling. Peace, love, happiness.